regards to, you used the word soulmate at the very beginning today, this morning, when you were describing to the gentleman, the guy that he wants to be up north with, and when you were saying it feels like kindness, it feels like love, it feels like passion, all of that happened to me for the first time in my life in early 2010, and I'd never even knew that kind of joy existed with this man. And it was like that for 6 months, and something kind of went a little off and continued to go off in spite of my work trying to. And we're still together, but none of my friends except for one understands what I'm going through. And that friend is also very clairvoyant, and she's a past life regressionist. She reads past lives and whatnot. Because there's something feeling with this man so ancient in a sense, but a good ancient, and a pull on my heart beyond a crush, beyond hormones, beyond all that. And I wanted to ask you about that, because we're in limbo together right now. We don't know which direction. Should we separate? Should we go forward? And one of the things that trips us up is this weird feeling deep within that there's some kind of maybe a contract or something from non-physical. No?
Well, there isn't any of that, but what there is what you initially represented to each other was a reason to focus in a way that caused each of you to align with the broader part of who you are. And then as time has gone on, you've been distracted from that point of focus, so the alignment isn't there, and so the relationship feels more empty. And so whether you stay together or whether you don't stay together initially, what is important is that you figure out how to get back into that state of alignment.
Right.
This is an example of using someone as your object of attention, as your reason for alignment. And it's sort of what we've been getting at all day today, as we're talking about doing the grid work for the emotional content of it, not because the manifestation will then ensue. In other words, we want you to feel the difference between seeing something that makes you feel good and therefore supports your grid, or conjuring an emotion that then brings something. But it's a fine line. Stay with us. You're going to like this, because it's taking this conversation of the grid into the next logical step.
Yeah.
So let's say that you understand what we're talking about the grid, and so you find vibrational alignment with it, and you feel good. And maybe you worked on it for 10 minutes this morning. It doesn't matter, but for whatever reason, you are feeling good right now. So your grid is in a good feeling place. So now the grid is going to fill in. So your coming together was the grid filling in.
Right.
It was the grid filling in response to the vibrational frequency that you both had going on at that time. Now, for whatever reason, that vibrational frequency is not where it was. So now another grid's filling in. And so the meant to be-ness is irrelevant. That's why the past life regression, we want to say irrelevant. Irrelevant, irrelevant, irrelevant. The only thing that is relevant is my conscious awareness of the grid, and then my subsequent awareness of how that grid fills in. In other words, we can't say to you stay or go, because those questions are too specific. We can only say to you, do some grid work. And so what were you looking for in a relationship? You're looking for excitement. You're looking for more appreciation of self. You're looking for someone else to focus your appreciation upon. You're looking for the expansion that only comes when there is a collaboration of ideas. You're looking for the moreness of it. You're looking for the contrast of it. Even though in the midst of the contrast you want to ask yourself if you really are. You're looking for the contrast of it, you see. And so as you become aware that you can conjure deliberately, just because you want to, a feeling place that will then fill in, then you begin to discover that you have control over the way this relationship unfolds. Right. So let's back up again, because we really want you to get this. So you're offering a vibration, and let's say you don't even know you're doing it, but the grid filled in. So now you think, it's what a lot of people think, they were oblivious to the fact that they had a grid going on, but when the grid filled in, now they're trying to keep score of the action that they offered. In other words, they don't realize that it was the grid filling in response to the vibration that they had going on. Do you follow what we're getting at? Yes. Everything is happening. In the beginning of a relationship, it was the grid filling in. In the middle of a relationship, it's the grid filling in. In the end of a relationship, it's the grid filling in. It's always the grid filling in. So the question that you want to ask is, now that I've been in this relationship and I've known what I do want and I know what I don't want and I've launched more rockets, what am I doing vibrationally in relationship to what's in my vortex? Because what's actually been happening is irrelevant to anything. The only thing that is relevant is what's coming next. This is the thing that we want you to begin to feel. All day, every day, some grid is filling in. It's filling in. We've been saying it in lots of different ways. Your point of attraction, what you think and what you feel and what happens are always a vibrational match. Nothing is happening other than in response to what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Today we're asking you to be more deliberate about what you feel, and we're asking you to try to find a way to separate your feeling from what's happening. Because if your feeling is a knee-jerk response to what's happening, then things can't change, not very much. So you can have a moment of a relationship that feels better than the last one and the one before that and the one before that and the one before that and the one before that. But a moment isn't enough, because pretty soon this one's going to be just like all the others, you see, unless you do something different this time.
Right.
And that's why we were emphasizing that you're different every time. In some regards, you're the same in some regards. So now, you might want to be different.
That's what he says.
You might want to offer a different vibration.
Right.
And so those are very powerful words. I want to offer a vibration that attracts a filling in, rather than observing a filling in, then I am dependent upon a filling in for the offering of the vibration. A lot of people, they come here. They want us to tell them something that will make them feel good so that they can get off on the foot that they want to get off on. And we want to say, you have to figure out how to feel good now, how to feel good now, how to feel good now, how to feel good now. And don't be dependent on anything else. That's what Jerry, making his, what Esther considers to be ridiculous and untiming transition into non-physical, that is the most powerful gift that it is given to Esther, because she reached a place where she just could not stand for one more minute to feel bad. In other words, finally, the only thing that matters took precedence. And then when the desire was strong enough, she found out she could do it anyway, you see. And when you show yourself that you can do it anyway, that breaks your dependency on wanting that one to behave in that way, and that one to behave in that way, and that one to behave in that way, and that one to behave in that way. But that's the way most of the world is operating. Do something good that makes me feel good, especially if you are my partner or my mate or my lover or somebody that I'm hanging around with a lot. Behave in a way that when I observe your behavior, I will feel good, and I will count this among good relationships. But if you should do something that when I observe it, I don't feel good, then I count this among bad relationships. And we say, you got to be independent of all relationships of a physical nature and become aware of the relationship between your soul, your true mate. And when you get that in place, then everything else will fill in for you. You see? Really good. Really good. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can say. You have too. It's delicious to play with you, to interact with you, to acknowledge where you think you are in relationship to where we know you are. And it is great fun. You don't know it, but we fantasize all the time on your paths of least resistance. And that's why when you find one, you feel such exhilaration. You feel the chorus of non-physical that has been rooting for you in your discovery of what we know you are looking for, you see. You are never alone. You cannot be. because we are all in this together. And you said, I'll go forth into the contrast of the physical time-space reality, and I will ferret out new desires and intentions for the expansion of all that is. And we said, and we'll stay here in concert with every piece you select, and we will offer a vibration that matches it, and we will radiate it with such clarity and such power that it will be hard for you to miss it. In fact, you will not be able to miss it. And when you feel at your best, it's because you're aware of it. And when you feel at your worst, it's because you are aware of it. In other words, every emotion you feel is your indication of that signal that the source within you is offering about that which you have become. That's why the negative emotion is as precious and important as the positive emotion, because all of it is about relevancy to who you really are, you see. It's all the same. When you acknowledge that the negative emotion is guidance, as is the positive emotion, that the unwanted contrast is focus, as is the wanted, and that you can't get it wrong, but moment by moment, you can choose to feel good or you can choose to feel bad, and the more often you make the choice to feel good, the easier it is to feel good. Until you can get a rhythm and momentum going where you feel good for no good reason, but then something comes in response to it that validates your reason for feeling good. And then as you observe this feeling good reason, now you feel even better and you radiate even more, and you practice your point of attraction in an even more solid, consistent way, and then more good comes, and then you observe it. And then more and more and more, until some well-meaning friend that you care very much about says, how come all the good stuff is coming to you and none of the good stuff is coming to me? And they divert you, and then you lose your momentum for just a little while, but then you get to go to sleep. And as you sleep, you always return to the high-flying vibration of that which is you. It's our encouragement that you be kinder to yourself in every way that you can think of. But we really think that if you really want to carry the momentum of this conversation into a very productive place for yourself, it would be of advantage for you to sit with a piece of paper in front of you and write general, emotional, good-feeling words the first thing in the morning, and just milk them for the emotional content that they will give you. And then start beholding the evidence that comes in direct response to that small effort. You'll get the ball rolling, and we will celebrate with you. And we want to remind you of one more thing. Every time you feel good, you're feeling us feeling good in response to you. You have emotions of your own, but you cannot separate those good feeling emotions from us. That's a celebration that's taking place. Reach for it. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain deliberately, stubbornly, intentionally, joyfully, consistently, chronically in the vortex.